I know we have a quorum. We need 40 people to have a quorum, and so, Madam Clerk, if I can call the meeting to order, is that okay? So, I call this annual meeting of the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd to order at 10:42 on this, the 25th day of January. It's great to have you here, and welcome one and all. This is a meeting of business for the church, so you have an agenda in front of you, and we'll have an election of the slate of vestry members. So that's what we're doing today. But let's begin with a quick prayer. The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, be present with those who take counsel in the annual meeting of the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd for the renewal and mission of your church. Teach us in all things to seek first your honor and glory. Guide us to perceive what is right and grant us both the courage to pursue it and the grace to accomplish it through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. With that, I want to say thank you to our outgoing vestry members. I invite you to come forward when I call your name. Senior Warden Dan Gilbert, come on down. Junior Warden Kevin Riddle is not here today. He's in New Jersey with his family, but we greet you, Kevin, from afar. Our clerk, Carolyn Rekenis, and Caroline Boren, please join us. Come on. I want to just say thank you to our 4 outgoing members, 3 of whom are officers of the vestry, and a special thank you especially to Caroline Boren, which is right here, who filled in an open seat 2 years ago. It's wonderful to have had you, and especially with your connection with the school, your love of children's ministry, and all the work that you've put in to help grow our family and children's ministries. You've been a wonderful addition to the vestry, and the vestry and the church is grateful for your presence with us. Thank you. Carolyn Rekenis, our clerk for 2 years after Dr. Ian Anderson ascended to senior warden. Thank you. I think the clerk probably has the hardest job of the vestry. They have to take the notes and send the minutes out. They're this authorized signature to sign everything. And Carolyn, you've just done an excellent job, and we're so grateful for your servant ministry and leadership on the vestry these last 3 years. So thank you to you. And our senior warden, Dan Gilbert. Dan, I like to call Dan my reluctant senior warden because he at first refused me a number of times, and I said, no, you're the perfect person. You don't want someone who's overly eager to be the senior warden. So we're very grateful for your wisdom and for the support you offered me, especially as I called you on Mondays and all sorts of different times just to run things by you. Thank you for leading us and the vestry in this year and for your 3 years on vestry. We're very grateful. Thank you. Thank you to all of our outgoing members. You may be seated. I'll give Carolyn a minute because this is the important part she has to take copious notes on. We move now to our vestry election, which we are electing a slate of 4 new vestry members. And so when they are called, if you would just stand where you are, that way we can look at you. And you should have a little bio as well in your packet. First, Alexa Chura, and her name is spelled with an A at the end, not an O, as in your one packet. So there's Alexa there. Thank you for saying yes to this nomination. Steve Hendrickson is in South Africa, so I'm going to ask David McCord, his husband, to stand, but Steve is in South Africa, and I'm sure watching from around the world. He'll be back next week. So thank you to Steve, and David, thank you for supporting him. Quinn Forsch. Quinn is right there, and was baptized here. Quinn, we were looking in the baptism book from many years ago, and we actually saw your baptism record there from the 90s. So thank you for saying yes to this nomination. And finally, Dale Smith, who has been here many years, and we're grateful for your willingness. Thank you. You may be seated. Are there any nominations from the floor? Seeing none, I need a motion to close nominations as a whole. Is there a motion? I see Peggy Chittum and Mark is seconding. Peggy made the motion and Mark seconded. Any discussion on closing nominations? This is not the election. We're just saying we're done with nominations. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, nominations are closed, and moving on then, I need a motion to elect the slate that includes Alexa Chura, Stephen Hendrickson, Quinn Forsch, and Dale Smith. Is there a motion? I see Gwen Guiri has made the motion. Carolyn, Gwen Guiri made the motion to elect the slate. Is there a second? I see Mike Grasshoff back there has seconded. Any discussion on the slate of vestry members? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Congratulations to our new class who serve a 3-year term. We are very, very excited to have you join the vestry. The vestry will, at their next meeting in February, elect our new junior warden and our new clerk, as well as elect or appoint the delegates to diocesan convention. The senior warden is appointed by the rector, so that news will be coming out later. I invite Treasurer Mike Green to come forward with his treasurer's report. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. I'm happy to report that the church is in sound condition. Financially, one of the best years we've had, if not the best. Yeah. If you want to see the summary of 2005 and the budget for 2006, it's on page 18 of your program. So for 2025, the church operations improved significantly over 2024. In 2024, the church had an operating deficit of over $43,000. In 2025, the church had a surplus of over $84,000. The church's financial condition is strong with cash and investments of over $2.3 million, which was an increase of over $428,000 from 2024. In 2025, the church had total income of over $1,276,000, which was over $72,000 over budget. The only category of income that was under budget was pledges. But that was more than made up by non-pledge offerings and gifts, which were over budget by over $91,000. Pennies for Heaven was over budget by over $23,000, with gross income of over $213,000, a record year. School contributions were over budget by over $7,600. And Artie's Party had net income of over $40,000, which was added to the committed outreach restricted fund. Total expenses were over $1,191,000, which was over $11,000 under budget. Stipends, salaries, and benefits were under budget by over $24,000. That was primarily because we had budgeted for an associate priest and for youth director, but those remained unfilled last year. Total property expenses were over budget by a little over $7,800, primarily due to maintenance expenses at the parsonage and the rectory, and property and liability insurance, which I think all of us can understand was over budget. Administrative expenses were over budget by a little over $5,900, primarily due to professional and thrift shop expenses. But of course, the thrift shop expenses were more than offset by the income being over budget. So as I said, church had an operating surplus of over $84,000. And that surplus was added to various restricted funds that the church has, including our operating reserve, thrift shop reserve, technology fund, and altar guild. At the end of 2025, the church had, as I said, cash and investments of over $2,300,000, which was an increase of over $428,000 from 2024. The church had over $746,000 in cash, certificates of deposit, and money market accounts. And from those accounts, income of over $12,000 was used to support the operation of the church. The church had an investment balance of over $1,584,000. Included in that investment account is a mission and ministry development fund, which had a balance of over $781,000, which was an increase of over $156,000 from 2024. There's an endowment fund in the investments, which had a balance of over $712,000, which was an increase of over $86,000 from 2024. And there's a memorial garden fund, which had a balance of over $90,000, which had an increase of over $13,000. From the endowment, we withdrew a little over $18,000 to support the church operations in accordance with the endowment document. The church also owns real estate. We have a parsonage over here on Ridgewood Circle, the rectory, of course, and the church buildings and land. The church has no debt. Moving on, we have restricted accounts, which are funds that are not part of the operating budget and are used for a particular purpose. And at the end of the year, that balance was over $563,000 after we applied the surplus. Included in those restricted funds, such as operating reserve, over $114,000, a growth and retention fund, which was new for 2025, thanks to a generous gift, of over $96,000. The committed outreach had over $58,000. Memorials over $53,000. Bequests over $42,000. Building maintenance fund over $42,000. Various restricted funds with healthy balances, especially, in my opinion, the operating reserve, over $114,000. Okay, so we can move on to 2026. The operating budget for 2026 forecasts a balanced budget. Total income and expenses are projected to increase by about 10% over the 2025 budget. Most sources of income are projected to increase versus 2025. There is a new source of income which we intend to rent the parsonage on Ridgewood Circle in 2026 because we don't see a need for the parsonage in 2026 and perhaps not even in 2027, so we decided to rent that. The budget projects 11 months of rent from the parsonage. I would also like to say that the Good Shepherd School is contributing more to the church under a new agreement that was entered into for 2026. Expenses expected to increase. We have a cost of living increases for the rector and staff. We have a part-time assisting priest, which was not part of the 2025 budget. We have a full-year parish administrator and director of children and family ministries, which was not fully part of the 2025 budget. We have expanded roles for the office coordinators. And then we have increases, as I'm sure we all understand, for utilities and maintenance for the properties and for property and liability insurance. The diocesan assessment increased over 2025, and that assessment is 12.3% of 2024 income. I just want to remind everybody that maybe if you came from the Catholic Church or some other church where the diocese supports the church, it's not way in the Episcopal Church. The Episcopal Church does not receive income or support, for the most part, from the diocese, but we do pay the assessment for the diocese, which you can see from the, maybe it's not in there specifically. No, it's not in there, but I think it's over $132,000 that we pay to the diocese. We've increased expenses for the thrift shop, and we've increased expenses for program and ministry, including music. Some decreases in expenses from 2025. The budget in 2026 does not include a youth director, nor does it include an associate priest. So I want to thank everybody who responded to the stewardship campaign last year. And of course, for those who have not yet responded, it's not too late to make a pledge for 2026. I want to thank everybody who made their pledges last year, or contributed non-pledge offerings and gifts, seasonal offerings, and those who supported Artie's Party in 2025. It was a big success. I want to thank everybody who volunteered to make Artie's Party a success that it was, and thanks to everybody who volunteers at Pennies for Heaven. They were great successes this past year. Finally, I want to thank all the clergy and staff for being good stewards of the gifts that we give to the church. Fantastic clergy and staff, the best, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you very much.
Don't go far yet. I do want to say thank you to Mike, our treasurer, to Mark Chittum, who's on the Finance Committee, Dan Gilbert is the senior warden, Harry Hawken, who's right there on the Finance Committee, and of course to Michelle Lane, who joins us for Finance, and Lynn Evans, who's our business manager, who does all of the hard work to get us the report. So thank you to all of you. Are there any questions about the church's finances from anyone? Yes, Jim? Oh, we might need a microphone, actually, right? Do we need a mic? Yes. Here it comes. Hang on a second. They can't hear you. Because we're recording it online, so they won't be able to even hear you there. There you go. Go ahead.
Hi.
Just tell us your name, please.
Jim Lanfer.
Thank you.
I'm a little confused as to the difference between expenses and diocesan expenses. Specifically, under expenses, you have administrative. And then under diocesan, then you have administrative expenses lower down, and you have thrift shop expenses in both places.
We have thrift shop expenses in both places.
It's salaries. He's seeing.
Oh, yes. We have thrift shop salaries. We have a manager and an assistant manager, which is under the stipend, salaries, and benefits. And then we have thrift shop expenses under administrative. Those are not salary related. Those are other expenses that the thrift shop incurs.
And what was your question about the diocesan expense?
Oh, no, I realize that's something.
The diocesan expense is the line item is full there, and it's $134,218 for the assessment we pay to the diocese.
But under expenses up here, you have an administrative line.
Those are salaries.
Here under administrative expenses,
those are all salaries.
They're broken out again, I guess.
Yeah, we have salaries for staff, which is administrative, and then we have expenses relating to the operations of the office and the church, administrative expenses.
The copy machine, sending out mail, computers, things like that. Yep. Okay, thank you, Jim. Oh, we have Emily.
Yes, this is Emily. Oops.
Thank you.
Emily Kane. I'm just concerned because when you told me that you're going to rent out that other property, when I came here, we had two priests and we had a youth director too, but we had, what was Mimi?
No, I
Dave.
think we had Wendy. You're talking about Wendy and Bob?
We had Wendy, Bob, and we
Yeah.
also had Mimi. We had
Mimi,
three,
yeah, Mimi was
three
the-
clergy people.
Mimi was the administrator.
Mimi was also a deacon.
Yes, she was.
So we had three clergy people and a youth director. Now we're bigger.
All right.
Excuse me?
I don't think we had a youth director, but that's fine.
With David Dixon, but not when Mimi was
not
here.
When, not when Mimi
Well, the
or-
point is
yeah.
we had three clergy people.
Yes,
Right.
Now we have one.
yes.
And
Well, we have
possibly,
two.
well, he's filling in.
You're right.
He's not.
Part-time.
Well, he's a
not-
part-time. He's a
But we
part-time
had
priest.
three permanent
Right.
people.
Yes, we did.
So for instance, the theological book person barely ever sees a clergy person, and there was always a clergy person in that room. So I don't understand why we're so, I mean, the most important thing to me is clergy people here.
Do you want me to take this one, or do you want to talk about it from a budget perspective?
No, I think you should speak to
Okay,
this.
great. Well, Emily, thank you. I actually think the most important people are the laity. I don't think the clergy are the most important in the church, so I think the laity are the most important. No offense, Father Cook, but we are trying to work toward a 2027 budget that will include a full-time associate rector. It's that in 2026, for both budgetary reasons, that's not possible, and because we've done a search for an associate rector. I've interviewed multiple people. I've actually brought 2 candidates to campus over the last, 18 months or however, since Derek left. And both of those candidates did not work out for various reasons, and both are valid and good reasons. The wardens and various people have interviewed them. So in my search, my national search for an associate rector, I have found that the pool is small and that we really want the best. So I'm just delaying that for another year for particular reasons that I can't talk about right now that are personnel related. But from a budget perspective, this makes the budget work. And my goal is that by 2027, we'll be able to increase the budget to support both a full-time associate rector and a part-time youth minister. But deacons do not get paid, but deacons are assigned by the bishop. And right now there are no available deacons in the diocese. And there's only one that's about to be made a deacon at some unforeseen time, who we know is Adalia Adams, by the way. Yeah.
Mike,
Yes.
can you talk a little bit about the endowment fund? How money gets into it? And is it only income that's taken out of it? Just talk a little bit about the endowment
Yeah,
fund, please.
well, the endowment fund was established a long time ago, 1992, by a gift of approximately $300,000 back then. It's limited into how we can use it. Currently we take, according to the document, we can take 3% of the balance, the year-end balance. For example, in 2026, we've budgeted 3% of the balance at the end of 2025, and we apply that to the operations of the church. The other uses are limited. For example, we could get, when we built the extension to this church, we took a loan. You can get the church can take a loan from the endowment, but obviously has to pay it back. That's one thing you can do besides take 3%. The other things are very. You could take $50,000 from the fund to establish a mission. It's very restricted in what you can use the money for, but it's a very good fund. I mean, it's important because the vestry can't just willy-nilly, not that a vestry would, but a vestry cannot willy-nilly spend the money out of the endowment. The Mission and Ministry Development Fund was established so that the vestry could control, as opposed to the endowment document, the vestry can control and can decide how to use that money, and they're not restricted as they are with the endowment fund. Well, it started out at $300,000. Its current balance is, let me see. Current balance is $712,000. Well, certainly please, anybody who would like to donate to either fund is welcome. I mean, they're both great funds, and they're both growing well. We've been very lucky. The investments have been good. So yeah, I mean, some people like endowments because they have to be spent in accordance with the document, which is important, so that, it can live forever. But that's how we use it now, is 3% of the year-end balance.
Valerie, I'll take it as an invitation. One of the best things you can do with your attorney, your will and estate attorney, is to put Good Shepherd in your estate plans. And you can designate that money however you'd like to do it. So if the endowment is wonderful because the vestry and the clergy can't touch it without a vote from you all, whereas the mission and ministry is a little more nimble. By a vestry vote, we can use that money. And then the operating budget, of course, is a yearly thing. So when you die, it's a great way to seed, and many people have done that. I think that's where some of that money has come from, the endowment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's called legacy giving, and you're right, we have not been as proactive on sharing those opportunities, but that will be changing probably in the second half of 2026. So why not the first half? No, not changing. The promoting legacy giving. Promoting legacy giving will be changing. The beginning, we're doing a capital campaign, so.
Alicia?
I was wondering if you could speak to the youth director, or absence thereof.
The youth group here is a middle and high school joint youth group, and it's thriving. Just to put that out there, we have more consistent attendance by the same number of people, and then they bring in other people, other youth who are regularly there. Beth Bonsack is the youth volunteer youth leader, along with Ian Anderson, who due to medical reasons for Letty has not been able to join us this fall semester. And then I join as both the rector and the staff person who kind of handles the youth group. Again, I've interviewed how many people, like 3, 2, something like that, and it's been hard to find the right fit. And the position we advertise for is a part-time position, so we're only talking about a Wednesday night and Sunday morning position at this point. So the main reason is budgetary. We can't afford to have a full-time youth person, and a part-time youth person is just a lot harder to find. If the right person comes along, then I'm happy to find the money. But I did not ask the vestry to budget it in because I didn't want the pressure on the income side that we needed to raise more funds right from the get-go. So if the right person comes along, we'll certainly grab that person and employ them lickety-split. But right now, this is primarily for me, it's a budgetary thing, and then it's a gift thing. I've been doing youth ministry my entire career, so I don't know, Beth might have a different opinion, but it's kind of second nature to me. It's not a hard thing for me to do, and it certainly gives me life and joy to be with the youth every Wednesday night. So you'll see me there almost every Wednesday. Does that help? Yeah. I think on paper it looks more concerning than it is, and we've been doing this now at least 2 years, 2.5 years, almost 3 years, and what we have not seen, which I think we were concerned about, was a drop-off in attendance. Actually, I would say attendance has gone up, especially among our middle school demographic. So we've got more middle schoolers now than we did in previous years who are kind of in the pipeline to keep going through. Does that help? Great. Is that accurate for you?
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Questions for Mike? Church finances. All right. Thank you. You're out of the hot seat.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Where's Lynn Evans? Where are you, Lynn? There you are. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Just a quick update on pledges. I can't tell you the exact number of pledging units. I think it's 153 or somewhere around there, which is around what we've had at this time last year. Is that right?
154 pledges at this point.
154 pledges.
And about a little over 700,000 in pledges.
Yes.
Some of those prepaid already. I think 71,000 of our pledge
Prepaid.
base has already been paid.
Yes. So we're very, very close to our pledge goal of 716,805. So I just want to say thank you again, as Mike said, for your pledges and for your faithfulness in fulfilling them, and even prepaying them, which is great. It makes our work financially much, much easier, and gives us confidence to say things like, if I find the right youth person, I'll hire them right away. So it's great. We have to go back for a second. Carolyn, we need to approve the minutes from last year's meeting. Yes, so we'll take a moment out of the agenda and break from that. You have the minutes in your packet here and prepared by Carolyn from last year, a year ago, and we just need a motion to approve those minutes. Rick, thank you. Rick Rekennis you're making the motion, right, Rick? Yes, thank you. And a second from Margaret Dunstan. Any conversation or discussion, changes that you can see? All those in favor? Any opposed? Great, that motion carries. Lovely. And now I'd like to invite Heather Vaughn to come forward with our head of school report. Good morning, Heather. It's great to have you.
Good morning. Thank you, Father Groff. I really like the expression new norm. It's just 7 little letters, but it just packs a whole lot of pow for me. And then I think the new norm describes fairly well what Good Shepherd experienced in 2025. We continue to stay hyper-focused on our mission to provide a firm foundation for life and learning, and to meet the individual needs of each student. But we also continued curriculum reviews to ensure the academics were constantly improving. We increased pay to retain our amazing teachers, and we invested significant dollars into the upkeep of the building. I think the new norm for us is really more about knowing who we are and who we serve. Understanding that tradition and proven methods can live harmoniously, side by side, with risk and forward thinking. It is more like the comfort of a pair of worn-in loafers that we just recently resold. Today, I would like to share with you a brief recap of what that looked like for Good Shepherd Episcopal School in 2025. First up is enrollment. Enrollment of students ages 2 to 12 was again at an all-time high. With greater than 170 students, we have experienced a 40% increase over the last 5 years. But it's really important, and I ask all of you today to please not focus on that number. I have been asking a few of you individually over the course of this year to help me change the narrative, because a school's success should not be measured by enrollment, but rather by student success. Are we serving our students? Are we reaching our community? Are we true to our mission? And yes, I believe we accomplished all 3 of those things this year. In the area of academics, this year we rolled out a new writing program called Keys to Literacy. That's for our students in 1st through 5th grade. That's going very well this year. We made a significant investment in new advanced smartboards. Every classroom, including pre-K through 5th grade, art, music, STEM, all have new technology in the classrooms, as well as dedicated laptops for both 4th and 5th grade students. So we have a one-on-one initiative. But more importantly, a school is only as good as its teachers. So our biggest initiative in the area of academics was actually related to retaining and attracting top talent. We realigned our faculty salaries to the Palm Beach County Public School District scale. We're also very proud of our partnerships. In the area of partnerships, we really have settled into the new norm. We cherish our many church connections and commitments, from weekly chapel services, food pantry collections, Shepherd's Flock, and joint charity collections. Wednesday Eucharist services are well attended by our parents, and a taped link is sent to over 250 parents every week. Our relationship with the village of Tequesta, again, very strong. It's allowing us to hold our physical education classes in the gym across the street for all of our 3rd through 5th graders. And we are also their invited honorees to represent our community at all of the town ribbon cuttings, tree plantings, etc. And of course, we have also continued our formal agreement with the Pine School that reserves a seat for all of our Good Shepherd graduates. In the area of facilities, last year we continued to add coverage and features to our new security system. And as expected with a 27-year-old building, we have continued to replace aging furniture and fixtures, air conditioning units, and we just moved into an upgraded phone system this year. And then finally, the area of finances. In 2025, you'll see that we grew to a $3.1 million operating budget. Those revenues, about 80% comes from tuition alone, and then the remaining 20% comes from other sources of income, such as summer camp, parent-led fundraising, and our annual fund campaign. On the other side of that is, of course, the expenses. About 85% of those expenses are spent on payroll and benefits for our staff. Another 8% spent on program costs, and the remaining 8% on building and maintenance. But mostly, I'm pleased to report that due to cost-cutting measures, several successful fundraisers, and an employee retention credit, referred to as an ERC, it's a payment through the IRS, we were able to add an additional $750,000 into reserves in 2025. So, all in all, thank you. All in all, 2025, hugely successful year. But as the adage says, it takes a village. So please allow me to conclude with a special thank you to our Board of Trustees, and in particular, Father Groff, our Chair, Stacy Ullman, and our Vice Chair, Gwen Geary. Their volunteerism is admirable, but it is truly their sage advice and unbridled enthusiasm that makes Good Shepherd so successful. And then lastly, I want to recognize the parents of Good Shepherd. These very determined women and men sacrifice thousands of hours and dollars to ensure our students are receiving all the benefits of a private, Christian, independent education. They serve as our school's builders of community and culture. They oversee important fundraisers, and things like our golf and gala would not happen without their support. So I thank you, parents, from the entire Good Shepherd community. Thank you for attending today's presentation, and hopefully I have piqued your interest a little bit. And if so, I invite each and every one of you to please pop into my office for a little coffee, a little conversation, and I would love to offer you a tour of our school. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Heather. We are very, very grateful for your work and the work of your entire team, and especially for the school board members. I was wondering, are there any other school board members here that, other than Stacy and Gwen? I don't see anyone. No, I think that's it. Okay. But the board is made up of at least 50% of church members, and we're grateful for all of their work and for your leadership, Heather. Thank you so much. I just have a few things to say. It hopefully will be of interest to you. But I want to start back in November when we organized a food drive, kind of on a whim, that then Alex Sarah Wolfington, our wonderful seminarian, took into the Instagram world, and it became a community-wide food drive. I think many of us hoped that it would go well, but few of us imagined what would actually happen. In 1 week, we collected enough food to feed over 1,000 people. Neighbors showed up, along with parishioners and families from the school, boxes, bags, carloads even of food, all being dropped off in preparation for that Sunday morning. The Spirit did indeed pick up this drive and carried it further than we could have ever planned or prepared for. When it came time to bring the food into church on the 10 o'clock service, there was so much of it that it had to be carried by whoever had hands to grab a box or a bag. People went out and came back in, some even making 2 trips. I had Tim and Debbie arrange to sing an extra hymn. It took so much time to bring all the food up, and by the end, the altar was absolutely covered. This moment has stuck with me, not because of the numbers per se, although numbers do matter, but because of what it revealed. What I saw that morning was scale without losing heart. There was joy and reverence, there were prayers, even a little stress about where to put it all. There were relationships, both with people here and people out there, helping one another and celebrating together. Community responding in love, and it shifted my imagination. I didn't walk away thinking, wow, we should do this every week. I walked away thinking, with God, more is possible than I ever even imagined. I think that's an important distinction, because the work of the church is not measured by numbers alone. The kingdom of God does not grade faithfulness by size. It measures faithfulness by presence and consistency and love rooted in relationship. And yet, God's imagination is still often much wider than our own. Sometimes growth doesn't begin with a new program or a strategic vision and plan. Sometimes it begins with people simply catching the same moment, the Spirit moving faster than our schedules. And so I think the food drive for me was not an outlier. I actually think it's part and parcel of who we are. I look at Penny's. The thrift shop, their annual holiday bazaar brought in more people to campus than any previous year. They set records in their revenue both that weekend at the bazaar and throughout the rest of the year. They have more volunteers being connected, signs of abundance, a reminder that when compassion is shared and relationships are strong, it can reach further and better without our heart shrinking back. And that's a hopeful word for us as we gather today. Over the past year, I found myself returning again and again to the simple question of who are we? Who are we becoming together? Now, we often say we have a place for you, and yes, that is true. It's at the core of who we are, but beneath that promise is something deeper. At Good Shepherd, Jesus Christ is known and made known in the way that we care for each other. Relationships are not an accessory to our life together. They are the very heart of our life together. That conviction shaped our focus in 2025 when we set out to deepen parishioner engagement, not by doing more for the sake of activity, but by strengthening the inner life of our community. Much of that work was quiet, steady, behind the scenes often. It looked like creating greater capacity for care and connection so that people could be more fully supported. It looked like expanding pastoral presence to those who are homebound, sick, or in need, who are in need. It looked like tending the daily rhythms of parish life with care, strengthening owls, older, wiser, livelier shepherds which grew and reached more people. Our Sunday school, family, and children's ministry has been strengthened, and we are seeing consistent attendance, except this morning, but that's because of the time change. Consistent attendance Sunday to Sunday. Bible study, theological book group, Daughters of the King. All of our ministries are thriving and growing. We also made intentional space to notice one another better, giving recognition to those who love and serve our community. Through moments of gratitude and shared reflection, through our Advent reflection devotional book, we paused to lift up the voices of you, our parishioners, as we shared our thoughts and feelings and prayers in Advent. We were reminded that the life of the church is carried not by a few, but by the many, by people who show up faithfully and who love generously and who serve often without fanfare. In addition, we invested in places where relationships could grow anew. Some were new, like barn raising once a month on Tuesday night, while others were reimagined, like hallowed hikes. All were rooted in that same desire to create room for connections that span the generations and life stages and interests. Whether around a foyer group table or on a hike or at a sunrise service at the beach or in prayer, we kept practicing what it means to belong. What I've seen again and again is this: when relationships are tended, faith deepens naturally. Not necessarily quickly or dramatically, but faithfully. Our average Sunday attendance in 2025 grew over 5%, equating to at least 11 additional people per Sunday on average. We saw in our breaking of unit number 3 there, the air conditioner in the back, that you all responded by giving more than double the amount of money that it would need to replace it so that we could have additional funds to fix unit number 2, which quickly needed a repair, and looking now to unit number 1, which needs to be completely redone after 21 years of faithful service. Abundance, but abundance in the midst of community and relationships. And so as Good Shepherd continues to welcome new people with new energy, it's worth saying this clearly: growth is not a threat to who we are. Growth is not a threat to who we are. When growth is healthy, it doesn't stretch relationships and resources thin. When growth is healthy, it actually creates new connections, new points of care. Our calling is to widen our circles of belonging thoughtfully, so that the warmth and intimacy and mutual support that we have will remain the center of our life together. That same widening imagination guides us to look at 2026, where we will be paying particular attention to our shared life with the school. The vestry has asked that we focus on strengthening our connections with the school and also recognizing the extraordinary volunteers who serve both church and school as we deepen our shared sense of mission. This is not just about shared space, it's about shared people and purpose. We'll also be widening our circles into the surrounding community through new worship opportunities and partnerships, especially with various groups and communities outside of our community. Groups like the art community of Jupiter and Tequesta, yoga practitioners, the African American community. These are not efforts driven by novelty or numbers, but by relationship, presence, and partnership. They reflect our belief that God is already at work beyond our walls, inviting us to meet Christ in our neighbors. And soon we will begin a new season of shared stewardship through a joint capital campaign with the school, one that seeks to care for our campus while also launching new ministries into the wider community. More will be shared in the months ahead, but at its heart, this work is about alignment, how we care for our shared home, and how we serve our neighbors that are beyond our walls. Faithfulness and imagination belong together, my friends. The church does not thrive by choosing between heart and reach, between intimacy and impact. By God's grace, we can have both. So as we look ahead, one of our most important spiritual practices may be this: to stay awake and alert to what God is making possible among us and even beyond us. I am so grateful to be your rector in this season of our life, not because everything is settled perfectly, but because so much is alive. So much is ripe for the harvest, because relationships are deepening and imagination is widening, and because together we continue to trust that Christ meets us in one another and leads us forward, one widening circle at a time. Thank you. Before we move into our final section of our meeting, are there any questions that you'd like to pose that are burning and that you feel like the community needs to hear and have answered? I love that. That is great. See, Father Cook, you taught me well. I do want to take a moment to recognize a number of people. So this is probably the most important thing we do today, because There are so many of you here and beyond who have given to the church in large and in small ways. I do want to say thank you to everyone who has given a financial gift, those who have pledged, those who have contributed to Artie's Party and our special drives, and many who made in-kind donations throughout the year, to landscaping and irrigation donations, Artie's Parties, auction items, and other food to the groups that help support those ministries, and countless others. I want to say thank you to every ministry leader, to every volunteer, every prayer supporter, worship participant. There are so many people doing so many things. It's hard to even begin to name many of them or any of them, but your work is invaluable to our life together, and I want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time, the effort, the creativity, the resources, the networking, all of the ways that you give of yourself to this place for the sake of God's glory. I want to say thank you to our second-year seminarian, Alex Sarah Wolfington. She's right over there, for her incredible work. You continue to call us forward into our digital space on Instagram, but your pastoral presence here at the altar, your sermons, your leadership, your prayers are so, so valuable to us, and we are so proud of you and the way in which you are being formed by God and this world and this community to become a priest in Christ's church. So thank you for being with us and continuing with us into the foreseeable future. I want to say thank you to our wonderful staff. Mike, I thought you said it quite well. They are incredible people who do incredible things, oftentimes on shoestring resources. America Hernandez is our nursery coordinator and attendant. Laz Fernandez is our sexton. Yolanda Aquilar is our custodian who cleans for us. We said goodbye at the end of the year to Evelyn or Evie Seeley, our digital media assistant. We wish her and Marika and the entire Seeley family blessings as they've moved and relocated to New Jersey a number of months ago. We thank Eric Parasaletti, our live stream coordinator, and then Danny Vaz, who was with us through October, and now Corby Steiner, our new assistant live stream operators. Thank you for your incredible work in keeping us connected with the wider world. Thank you to Lynn Evans, our business manager, who works tirelessly in her office, and many of you have liaised with her. She is keeping our books immaculate, and not only that, but she took on the arduous task of redoing our chart of accounts, which, if you don't know that, feel blessed. Months and months of work to redo the chart of accounts, and thank you, Lynn, for all of your incredible work and faithfulness. To Beth Long, our thrift shop manager, you continue to outshine yourself year after year, bringing in more people, more revenue, more donations. I am just so impressed, and I wish I could just build you a whole new space that double your square foot. I can't do that this year, but soon we can do that. To Jennifer Johnson, who rolled off. Yes? Yes.
Do I? All right.
Yeah, we need
Yeah. But somebody was meeting me. They were buying a mattress, and it was just timed perfectly. Sanford and Jesse were coming out the door from youth group. So we're working by, and I go, "Oh, Father Sanford, meet Gene. He's buying a mattress." And he's like, "Hi, Gene. Nice to meet you." And this Gene's kind of going, "Hi? Like, what's going on here?" And I just love it. It's so different. Our whole campus just suits us very well, I think.
The variety is incredible. Jennifer Johnson has concluded her years with us on staff, but she's going to continue as a volunteer. Congratulations to Kevin in his retirement, and Jennifer, thank you for your years of service as our assistant thrift shop manager. We're grateful you're not going anywhere. And we welcome Pam Steele-Unger. Pam, where are you? There you are. Thank you, Pam. Welcome as our new assistant thrift shop manager. We're so grateful to have you here. Lisa Ellington, our office assistant. We're so grateful, especially as you take on some more hours and the work that you're doing, especially with Ministry Scheduler Pro, which, if you don't know what that is, we want you to volunteer during a Sunday morning. But After many years, Karen Rupar has retired from her scheduling duties, and we're grateful for Lisa taking that on, especially with new software. So thank you to Lisa. Mary Lou Crafasi, who rolled off midsummer as our Director of Children's Ministry, we thank you for staying on as our office coordinator and doing a wonderful job leading theological book study and hallowed hikes and so many other things that you do, both in and out of the office. It's a great gift to our community. To Tim Johnson Reynolds, our organist and choir director, we are thankful for your gifts and skills all the time. Tim is here more often than you think, not only practicing with the choir and working on things, but doing funerals and weddings and special services. It's great to be in partnership with you as we lead our life liturgically together. To Debbie White, our assistant choir director, we are so grateful for your work and support in all things music and the beauty that you bring, both with your voice and all the work you do behind the scenes. Joe Wood, our hospitality and facilities director, there you are, who's getting ready for Artie's party. Joe, thank you for everything you do. Joe works tirelessly behind the scenes to make everything in our campus function and all of our events go smoothly. And then when she thinks she's done with everything, we add another funeral into the mix for another reception. So we're grateful that you are so flexible and you have infinite energy. So we're grateful for that. Michelle Lane, welcome to you. 6 months in, our parish administrator and director of children's ministry. We are so grateful to have you here. And Michelle has had to learn no less than 5 different software programs in 6 months. So she is just incredible and doing it with a spirit of flexibility and love and grace. And we are just so grateful that you are here and look forward to many, many decades together here at Good Shepherd. As we go nowhere. Heather Vaughn, our head of school, of course, I love working in partnership with you, and thank you for your faithful stewardship of the school, our largest ministry of Good Shepherd, and for taking that on now in your 5th year, I believe. Is it your 5th year as head of school? I think so. 15th year at the school, I believe. Something like that. We're not counting. And we're just grateful for all of that. Again, someone who works tirelessly here 12 hours a day, often. You can see her light on in her office from sunrise to sunset sometimes. And so we're very, very grateful as we continue and launch into this next exciting chapter together. Finally, also welcome to Father Jim Cook, recently retired a year ago from St. Mark's. We are welcoming you as of the end of last year to our staff as our part-time assisting priest, an assisting priest who's here typically Tuesdays and then Sundays, and we're very, very grateful as you help us with our pastoral care, our ability to reach out to those who are not with us today, and for your gifts of preaching and prayer and love and support and your wisdom and expertise after just a few years of being a rector at a parish. So we're very, very grateful for you being here. It's great to have you. I forgot to mention Jessica Spinnenweber, who also joins us at youth group. So thank you to Jessie and Beth for your incredible work. As Ian has been, our prayers are with Ian and Letty, who I think will be back for Artie's party, which hopefully they will make it. And we are excited to see them after they've had a rather difficult couple of months. I think that's going to do it for me because we are coming up on 1 hour, and I think if you have any other questions, then please let us know. I'd love to talk to you more about that. The vestry, if you're a vestry person, would you just stand for a moment and let's just acknowledge you and your service to this church. Here's our vestry. Again, working behind the scenes, our governing body, and they've got a busy year coming up ahead of them as well. So thank you to you all. And with that, I invite you to stand and let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, ruler of all things in heaven and on earth, hear our prayers for this parish family. Strengthen the faithful, arouse the careless, and restore the penitent. Grant us all things necessary for our common life, and bring us all to be of one heart and mind within your holy church. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Is there a motion to adjourn? George, thank you. And a second? Thank you, Tom. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. God bless you and have a wonderful week.